Welcome to Module 3 in the Transition to School for Budget-Based Funded Services. Module 2 looked at how the educator's perspective can best assist the child in becoming school ready, as well as supporting the school to be ready for the child. This module will discuss how to support the child in regards to transitioning to school. First of all, we touched on this in Module 1. The first thing I'd like you to do as a group of educators is to have access to some butcher's paper and some markers. What different school environments would you identify for children within your services? Where are they going? What types of school environments is the children entering into next year or even the year after? Is it a traditional primary school? Is it boarding school? Is it school of the air? Is it distance education? Is it a one-teacher school? Are they entering into composite classes? Those different school environments will have an impact on the child's learning, as well as what you're catering for in regards to a school's transition program. Within budget-based funded services, you're working with a broad range and diverse set of communities. So it would make sense that some of the school environments were very different to some of the environments that would be in a traditional sense in an urban environment. Think about the children that are going to currently transition this year and next year, and identify what school environments they are engaging in. This will best assist you in deciding and understanding what type of transitional supports are required to best assist the child and the school. You may wish to pause this presentation while educators have a deep reflective conversation and note down any conversation on the butcher's paper. This is a powerful reflection tool to come back to and review some of those discussions. Welcome back. The next set of reflective questioning you might like to consider is thinking about the child and what will be different for them when they begin school. Think about the learning environment that you currently create for children and other learning environments that they may be entering into. Think about now the school environment and the differences in your learning environment and the school environment. Consider some of the following questions. How long are they spending with you in your structured learning environment? How many hours per week? How many hours per week will the child be attending at school? 5 days a week, 6 hours a day. Outside the temporal environments of the school, let's think about the routines. Let's also consider the differences in environments, resources, focus on learning, and the relationships that will be different when they enter school. Brainstorm what you currently do in your service and brainstorm what's existing in schools. Identify these differences. These differences are important to identify when having or engaging in conversation with either the principal of the school or teachers at different schools, whether it's a governess or whether it's someone at the School of the Air programs. Once again, you may wish to pause this presentation and please spend some time discussing this particular question. This is a very relevant and good reflective question for educators to pause to think about. Write down those answers on your butcher's paper, as they will be of great assistance when developing your school's transition program. Welcome back. The next thing we're going to do is look at the school's transition statement, and this is to begin the conversation with children in regards to their school's transition. Let's have a look at it. The school's transition statement asks us to request the child to draw a picture and ask the following questions. Have you been to your new school? What do you think about school? What do you think your favourite things at school will be? What do you think will make you happy at school? And what would you like me to tell your school teacher about you? The child may verbally answer some of these questions, or they may wish to draw some of those pictures. When we're having these types of reflective conversations and provocations with children, we'll look at some other strategies to be able to engage the child in regards to reflecting on their transition and what their new transition or new environment will actually look like. So we can actually support the child through the program, and there's a variety of methods that we can actually do to achieve this. This is a picture of a centre-based service. And as you can see within the environment, they've just created a little dress-ups that identify the school uniforms that children will be transitioning into. The reason behind this was that children had begun to be curious in regards to their transition to school. The uniforms are the cue to have a provocation or conversation with children. And you can see this in the environment where it engages children to have a conversation. The environment is speaking to children, sit here and talk about this, wear this, play this. So we can actually observe some of the conversations and imaginative play that emerge from some of those dress-up cues. Other ways that we can engage children is through provocation, by understanding an idea around their perspectives of what it means to begin school. Claire Warden's talking tubs are a great resource and material to identify ways to engage in those provocations and deep reflective questions with children. This is not about getting answers out of children, it's about really hearing some of their thoughts and some of their questions. Watch the following movie in regards to her talking tub around Scotland. We will use this conversation in regards to engaging you through the talking tubs in regards to the transition to school.
This is called a talking tub, and I designed it many years ago to work with children to develop their oracy, to help them and support them to share with me what they're thinking about and what their theories of the world are. You can buy these boxes empty, which is great because you can then fill them yourself, or you can buy them full. Just makes life a little bit easier. They're black and white to make them different. They've got coverage with question marks because I want children to see that this is about thinking. It's not about the answers. Let's have a look inside a full talking tub. This particular one I've got in my hand is actually all around the cultural elements of Scotland. So we've got a variety of tartans in here because we want children to understand it's not one type of tartan, but many. We want them to understand some of the elements of the objects that you might find in Scotland. So we've put in here a tea towel for you to have a look at some of the animals that are there. We've got antler, because it's very important to us that we see antler as a resource. We've got the flags of Scotland. It's very important for children to realise there isn't just one flag, but many that are linked to a country. We've got the music. We've got mystery objects that are to get children to inquire and to question. This is called a spurtle. It's made for making porridge in Scotland. We've got something about the wildlife. This is a beautiful pheasant's feather that we have in Scotland. And it's important, again, that children have multi-sensory materials inside these talking tubs. We've got a wee Highland cow. And, of course, you have to have golf. Now, all of that in itself is lovely, but we also need to celebrate visual things in terms of the language. So we have the Gaelic, which is our native language in this country. The two-dimensional pictures that are in here, the photographs that we've supplied you with, have everything from creative projects like the Celtic ring patterns to beautiful music that we love, like Flowers of Scotland. We've got photographs, two-dimensional, of the wildlife that we have, more stereotypical in terms of understanding of our music, the food that we eat, a map of our country to show how large it actually is, ideas of people in the past, looking at history, the stunning mountains that we have in the north, modern day, looking not just at traditional things about Scotland, but understanding that actually we have a very modern culture, which is full of aspiration and innovation. The last and final piece, which is in fact probably the most important, is this card. Because in this sheet, what I'm doing is I've laid out for you how this links to a curriculum, how we can use it as part of our planning framework when we work with children. First column over here is our possible line of development. What elements may be coming from this, like clothing, cuisine, location, cultural identity? The second column here is what objects in the talking tub link to that possible line of development. Over here, these are my big ideas or my learning outcomes that I can then link in. And this sheet in itself could become your backdrop planning, because all of the objects that you put in your talking tub have been intentional, they've been thought through, they've been planned by the adult. So when we offer them to children, we understand that we're framing and provocating their learning. And it's that element that we can then record in our talking and thinking floorbooks. We have a whole variety of talking tubs available. This one is on Scotland. Please check out the website to see the full list of titles.
So the talking tub is an interesting concept in regards to having provocations or questioning with children. Let's have a look at some other ones. This is the empty talking tub. This resource can be purchased from Modern Teaching Aids. This is a different style of talking tub where we start talking about gardening and having provocations around growing things. This one is what an educator has made just out of a suitcase. And this one is more around provocations around water. And you can see quite briefly there are some jugs and measuring containers in regards to measuring, having provocations around water, what water does, and how we use water. If you'd like more information in regards to the talking tubs, please get in contact with us here at contact on 02 921 25588 and we'll send you through some resources and some web links to do some online learning in regards to the talking tubs and the talking and thinking floor books. And this is another way of engaging children into the thought processes and engaging in them in regards to what they're thinking about their school's transition. What do they think about big school? What are the things they're looking forward to? What are the things that might worry them? So think about what you could potentially put into those talking tubs. What is going to be the line of inquiry and what resources will support the learning in regards to the school's transition? School uniforms, school bags, school shoes, pencil cases. You may have pictures of their school environment. You may think of other resources of an innovative nature. Also, too, think about the way that children are transitioning in different environments. What kind of resources would you put into the talking tub, for example, if they were going to enter into the School of the Air? What kind of resources would you put into the talking tub, for example, if they were going to do distance education? Would it be a picture of their home? Would it be a picture of the kitchen or the learning environment where they will be? So this is one method of introducing the conversation into the program. Now you'll notice here I put a hand stencil up on the screen. This is important when we start beginning to talk about the social and emotional well-being of children. One of the big differences for children when they enter into a new school environment is the differing relationships. The safe, secure, reciprocal relationships that you have created over a period of years, weeks or months will look very different for the child when they enter into primary school. So let's have a conversation with children in regards to who are the significant others on their hand. They may use two hands if they wish. You don't have to be limited to one. This is a powerful reflection for children to identify who are the significant relationships that support them. Who are the people they go to when they feel worried? Who are the people they go to when they would like to share something exciting or something that's happened to them? Let's write those people on the tips of their fingers, on one hand or both hands. This is an interesting teaching strategy to relate to primary school teachers to also have that conversation with the children who are entering into their classroom. Who are the children who are currently significant relationships and what are the relationships they can now identify at school that can be significant or can support them when they're excited about relaying a story or telling some news or current events or when they're feeling worried. This is a very strong emotional, social perspective to give to this teacher as well as introducing into your program. Let's also consider About Me storyboards. This resource is also downloadable from the network, from the Contact website. This will be an additional resource to support Module 3 of this particular webinar. The About Me storyboards tell the story of the child. There are leading questions and it's in a PowerPoint format, so you can insert photographs where you wish, type in text where you need to, and even record the voice of the child and the educator or family. This can be provided in a digital format or you may choose to print this out. As I said, this will be available on the Contact website as a resource to support Module 3. If you require further information in regards to Module 3 or Module 1 or Module 2, please contact us here at Contact Inc. on 02 9212 5588. We look forward to seeing you on another webinar for Modules 4 and 5. And just to recall, this is part of a learning program in regards to the Schools Transition Program for budget-based funded services.